Hello everyone, I'm Josh Dean and you're all watching Game Engine's Retro Time. First episode in our series where we look at a series of old games that somebody likes and we play them. So the first up this week is World of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. This one is a Mickey Mouse game from the Sega Megadrive / Genesis, starring these two characters here. What this series is going to be about is showing you basically how the game works, what the kind of style is, and basically you get to see games that many people haven't played. Or maybe you'll have, in which case watch the video anyway. Might bring back some nostalgic memories. So, because I've not got very long to do this video, let's get on with it. Okay, so basically the game starts with this kind of scene that basically tells you that things are going bad. And Mickey and Donald decide to get into a magic box, and they disappear, which sounds about right, to be honest. They fall into a box, and then you end up in this world of illusion. So here we are at the main menu. Now, you've got player, password, control, and sound. Now, password, because there's no save points or anything like that, the newfangled technology, you can put in one of these cards, mix them up, and then that'll allow you to go to different levels in the game, which is pretty cool. Control, never mind. And sound lets you listen to some of the sound in the game, which quite a lot of the kind of 16-bit era games allowed you to do. Because they didn't really sell soundtracks, and clearly I'd like to go around my house listening to that. I think it would suit. But enough of this. Let's play the game. Now you can choose to be either have a one-player game or two-player game if you've got two people playing with you, obviously. But we're going to have one player, and we are going to pick Donald. Let's start. Donald's awesome, of course. So this game did quite a few interesting things with like the foreground and kind of layered kind of background. So you see you got a caterpillar thing there crawling in, and the background kind of slides across. It's a bit of a strange effect, but it works pretty well. Your buttons are quite simple, obviously, because you've only got a simple Megadrive pad. You use B to use that magic cape. You can use C to jump or to crawl this way. And then you can use the A button to run away. I found it's a pretty precise platformer. And there's cool little elements in the levels such as this. And all the levels obviously are themed, so it all fits in. But what I'll talk about a bit later is how it changes between using different characters, or if you've got one player or two player, which is kind of a nice effect. Adds a little bit more to the game than you perhaps would see normally. You'll notice it's not too challenging, especially the first part. I mean, it's not the only Mickey Mouse game that's been on the Mega Drive, or even the Super Nintendo. There was loads of different games such as this, including Castle of Illusion, which shouldn't be confused with this one. One made by Capcom. Mickey Mania, that was made by Telltale Games. That was made a bit later in the Genesis time. And technically, it's probably a better game than this. But this one has charm. This one really does have charm. So, the area we went through first, regardless of whether you're playing as Mickey, or playing as Donald, or playing as with two people, those games are all the same. Oops. Whereas this area is different depending on what character you are. So it tends to be, dear me, it tends to be this kind of pattern. So say if you are playing as two players, you'll probably go into sort of like a minecart area, which is absolutely awesome, which is well worth going into. I'll just jump over him. But it's different depending on what characters, and it kind of does add quite a cool effect to it, really. And also you can zap your second person with the cape, which is always a bit of fun. Challenge-wise, yeah, it can catch you a few parts. There's a few boss moments that might catch you. But overall, it's not too challenging. primarily, I think, because you've got this cape here. So, whereas in some games you'd often like get killed simply because you jump on an enemy and try and kill it that way, and turned out you can't do it. This one, the cape tends to deal with most things, or at least stun them. So if I only catch this spider, see it's stunned, I can go in for the kill. So perhaps it's not the most challenging of experiences, to say the least. But some of the boss battles can be quite tricky, and elements of the platforming. Perhaps more on 2-player than 1-player, because I find Donald tend to be a little bit more difficult than Mickey. Some of the platform elements, as you'll see in the next area we go into, tend to get a little bit difficult. But as you can see, if you know what you're doing on the game, you just wait and drop down. Animation-wise, this game is pretty cool. The characters do have a real character about them, so Donald tends to strut everywhere. And they do look genuine panic when they run. And a little blue hat. And it's just little effects that you just kind of think... You don't tend to get that in games nowadays that you notice so much. It tends to be the norm, but back then this was kind of, 1992. Little effects and stuff that look pretty cool. Now let's fight the boss. Well, these bosses are actually pretty freaky. We won't get to it, but there's a crazy short boss that scares the life out of me. There's a witch that looks like some scary thing. But again, they're not too tough. I mean, some of the ones that you have to jump out of the way of things tend to be more difficult. But overall, you kind of have a pretty easy road when you're dealing with them. And we win! So, each level tends to have its own little unique twist going on it. So, for example, this level tends to focus on the one we're going on to now is basically like it's set in the air, so you can't really fall, and it's anywhere. And you've got a magic carpet which you can use, which is pretty cool. The next area you go into, which we probably won't unfortunately have time to fit in, takes us to like a... Ooh, that sucks. Allows you to be in like a bubble underwater. And the another areas involve jumping into levels through this like office space. It sounds cooler than it looks cooler than it actually sounds, to be honest. And doing all kinds of things. I think as Mickey, you end up riding on a rocket off a cork of wine or a bottle of wine or something. Crazy stuff like that. It's pretty cool. So we're about to enter one of the more difficult areas for Donald, a random ravine. Now I remember this giving me grief when I was younger, but it's not so bad now. It's just a bit of precision jumping, a bit of prediction. Another interesting thing is on the 2-player mode is your lives are kind of split. So you'll start off with double the number you would normally, but if you lose all your lives, everyone's dead. So if one player is rubbish, it's usually left to the other player to try and help them through. But like the great thing about this is the stronger player can always take advantage. So say if there's a player who's better at controlling the carpet, they're the ones who'll jump on first to control it. So things like that. We're almost there. Although the water level does get quite frustrating with someone who can't use it. Ooh, that was close. So I'm doing alright on this one for once. Ugh. That was close. So this is a level unique to Donald. Yet this level here is on all of them, so you can see that they kind of split. But for example, little things like having to use 2 people on the clouds just change. So that's a quick look at World of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck for the Sega Megadrive. Any suggestions or questions you want to ask, either go to the forum thread on gameengine.co.uk, which will be in the comment area, or comment on YouTube and I'll keep looking at them and keep updating you. So thanks for watching this quick look of World of Illusion, and Retro Time will be back soon with a new game. Not sure what yet though.